Hello and welcome to Birdeye Live, the show dedicated to the digital transformation of local businesses everywhere. I am your host, Justin Meredith, and join me as we learn from industry experts about the how and the why for taking your business online and claiming the most valuable real estate on the internet, that first page of Google. Now, if you're tuning in live, feel free to say hello in the chat. We would love to hear from you. So today we are going to be looking back at some of the top moments from 2024 from the variety of our webinars. We've heard from so many experts all year long. We've been having some incredible discussions, some very helpful insights from some very smart people who gave us their time to give us some great advice and tips. And we thought it would be fun to take a look back at this last year and pull some of those nuggets of gold, so to speak, from some of these folks. And so we've got a few of these highlight reels that we want to play for you. But before we get started, let me introduce my co-host for today's episode, Sirit Singh. Sirit is part of the marketing team here at Birdeye, and she's no stranger to the Birdeye live streams here. Welcome, Sirit. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Justin. I'm so excited to be here as always and share some of the most critical insights that we've gathered throughout this year. And you correctly pointed out it's been an incredibly exciting year for AI, local search, SEO, and reputation management. So yeah, here
It
we
really
are.
has. Yeah, it really has. It's crazy that it's only been a year. As we were looking back through some of these highlight reels, it was wild to think like, man, I felt like we were just talking about this stuff. And at other times at some of the clips that we have from the beginning of the year feels like forever ago because there's just so much that's happened. I mean, some of the updates that are coming out in the AI world are, I mean, right now it's literally, I mean, they're coming out every single day. And so it feels
I
like
agree.
there's just been a lot going on. And so hopefully we can take a look back and get a better understanding of how this year has progressed. And then we can take a quick look at what we can expect in 2025.
Absolutely.
So
Let's get started.
great. So up first, we are going to take a glimpse into the future of AI from one of our keynote speakers at this year's Birdeye View event. Sherwin Wu from OpenAI talked a lot about the multimodality of AI and how they're working on creating smarter models and even handling, the voice level customer engagement. A lot of the things that we're seeing now during this 12 days of OpenAI Christmas that they're doing, where they're coming out with the new update every single day. But a lot of this stuff, it sounds, now with hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, he was spot on with this. So let's take a look at what he had to say.
But you can imagine very soon being able to have an actual person on a phone. So if you have a phone number, you might be able to have one of these models actually talk back, capture information, ask for the right time, ask for the requirements, and have direct customer engagement on a voice level as well. You could also imagine, as the image understanding gets better, customers can now start sending in like, hey, here's my HVAC, it's broken. Can you help me see what it is? And on the inbound side, it can actually provide a little bit of support there. As well. And so the multimodal side, I think, is a big trend. The second one is, I think these models will get smarter. They'll keep getting smarter. A lot of the use cases that we just described today, I think, are very, what I describe as simple tasks. Like maybe it's tasks you give an intern at your company, and you're kind of double checking what they're doing. And I think as these models get smarter, I would expect them to get better at not only just summarizing, but maybe reasoning a bit more, doing multi-step tasks, doing more complex things. I think all of that will be in the picture very soon, even if it's not possible to.
Wow. So this one is really cool because I think as of just recently, OpenAI just made an announcement about how they have a phone number now where you can call ChatGPT and talk to the voice mode. And I thought that was really interesting because he was just talking about how, he could see a future where you can call a number and gather this information. And obviously, I think he's speaking from a business standpoint, but this is also something, this might be something that they're working on in their training. And so it's cool to see the wheels turning on some of these predictions that he had. And, the advancements of these AI, models, especially, from the agent standpoint, where they're going to be able to take on more tasks and do things kind of like an intern, which is what he was saying, is starting to become very clear. we're able to start seeing that probably come to fruition. What was your takeaway?
I first want to say that Birdeye View was such a huge event. And as you know, we were in the organizing committee of sorts. None of the team members got a chance to, sit back for all the webinars, right? I was so glad that I got to, witness Shauvin's webinar, because what incredible insights were shared on that webinar. Such an exciting discussion, and the idea of AI reasoning through multi-step tasks, and the multimodality, which we can now already, we're working on with
Mhm.
ChatGPT. So even understanding, images just shows how fast this technology is evolving. He
Oh.
was talking about it a few months ago, and now we're already using it.
Yeah, we really are. And then, it's
Amazing.
even with the multi-step tests and the reasoning, that's something that they're putting out with their O1 model, which is also a really big deal. And so there's some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. And, Birdeye is right there with it. We've got some incredible new features that we're putting out, such as competitors and insights AI. We were able to talk with Manila from in our last episode, where she gave us a full in-depth picture of these features, and it's just awesome. It's really cool to see that, as
Right,
this
right.
technology evolves, we're evolving with it, and we're just making our capabilities stronger and stronger. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next highlight from this year. And we talked about, in this session, we were with Ben Fisher, who's one of our all-time great guests that we've had on on multiple webinars, including Birdeye View. We were talking about how businesses need to own their strategy in the age of AI, or really own their own story and their reputation as well. With tools like ChatGPT or SearchGPT and Perplexity pulling data from all over the place, not just Google reviews, it's really important for businesses to expand their focus from just Google. Although Google is still extremely important and crucial, they should be, still the number one focus. Now you kind of have to look beyond that. And Ben had some great thoughts on that. So let's take a look at what he was saying.
Now, when it comes to things like ChatGPT and Perplexity, controlling your narrative gets even more important. Looking at what people are saying, and when I'm talking about what people, I'm talking about the crowd. I'm talking about multiple websites. What are they saying? Because the fact of the matter is that, let's say you're 10, your business is 10 years old, but I get more than enough people to go out there and say, nope, your business is actually 5 years old. This is when you started. And I get to overwrite maybe one of your original documents somewhere that you put out a press release. And I get them to go ahead and correct that. How much of the narrative can I change about your entity? And, and on the flip side of that, how much can you control that information? Because if enough sources say something, then these LLMs, these new search engines, answer engines, that's what they're going to come up with as the answer. So you need to be able to feed it and control that feed, basically, I guess is my point there. So reputation management just got really important.
I love that take from him, because he's spot on. If you're using these other AI search engines like SearchGPT or Perplexity, and you ask them for a recommendation for a restaurant, an auto shop, a dentist, any kind of local business, and they'll give you these suggestions, you can ask them, okay, well, why are these the best options? Why did you recommend these businesses? And it'll tell you, it'll say, well, based on the reviews and customer feedback from these sources, and it's a list of sources from all over the internet, from niche review sites to others, they pull from all over the place. It's kind of like as if a person was manually, like, imagine if you were manually searching for business recommendations for somebody, like if they had asked, and you wanted to make sure this was a very well-researched recommendation, you would look at all these different sites, you would see what people are saying, and you would get an overall, or a high level view of what the overall reputation of this business is, instead of maybe just looking at Google, just the Google reviews. And I think that's kind of what Ben is saying, is you have to really control the narrative about your business across the internet.
You said it. And if what it boils down to is if you're not actively managing your reputation, AI tools might just tell a different story about your business than what's true. So it's all the more important than ever in this
Yeah.
AI-driven, AI first era.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of controlling your narrative in this AI first world, our next clip, we explored AI tools like Perplexity, which are starting to license local data, but the conversation naturally circles back to Google's knowledge graph. And let's take a look at what Greg Sterling had to say on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now these AI search tools or alternatives or bots, however, chatbots, however we want to describe them, they're still in very early stages, and some of them are licensing data. For example, Perplexity licenses Yelp data, and some of the listings management tools are feeding data into these different tools. But Google's local knowledge graph or local data is much more developed than anything you're going to find, in any of these tools. Including, Gemini is drawing upon Google's own data, but it's still not the full experience that you get from using Google. So we've got a long way to go to really, create parity within these AI tools. But having said that, I think that some of them are really viable alternatives for informational lookups and general research.
Yeah, and Greg was making this prediction a few months ago, well before Search GPT came out. That's whenever really the only other kind of AI search engine people were looking at was Perplexity. And now, like as he was saying, these are becoming more viable. They're becoming more popular. But Google is still the king right now. And, it's such, and I don't, and even though the public perception to some may be, Google may be slipping, these other tools are coming into play, there's all these other things happening, Google's still Google, and they're still just the foundation really for this sort of thing when it comes to local businesses, the internet really. And so, I think that's an extremely important thing. What about you? What was your insights from that, Sarah?
Definitely. I think Google is also keeping up as these new tools are emerging. And
Yeah.
while I completely support the adoption of and encourage rather the adoption of new AI tools like Perplexity and ChatGPT, because at the end of the day, they are fetching an immense amount of data, at the click of a button. It's great that I don't have to doom scroll. But I can't deny that Google still does hold the edge. So, when it comes to the depth of local data, because just think about how long it's been in the game. So, I mean, and to say that even, Gemini has been training on all the data that Google has to offer. So there's a lot of competition even among the AI tools.
Oh yeah, I agree. And, I think it's just going to continue to get more refined. I think Google will have its version of more of an answer engine. We know we have they have the AI search results at the top, but I believe that they're probably going to have something that's closer to, like, their Gemini model is incredible. Their 2.0 is insane. And I think that that's going to play a bigger role in this next year as more people start to use it. But I think a big part of that is the psychology around this type of search. People being able to ask a question in their own natural voice, whether it's with talking through like with voice mode, or if it's just being able to ask a question naturally and then a follow-up question. And I think that's the big thing right now with these answer engines is you can refine your search if they don't give you the answer that you have. Whereas right now with the normal search, you get the links, you kind of have to search through them to see if if those links have the answer that you're looking for. It's a little bit extra work. And I think as people get more accustomed to this new way of searching, this stuff is only going to get better. It takes time, it takes data, but I think it's just going to continue to get better. But that's why it's so important for these businesses to make sure that they're visible everywhere. Google especially, because that's going to be one of those big key players. And, it's important to be able to manage that effectively, especially if you have a lot of locations. And, it's just one of those things that's just going to get really, really, I think it's going to become really top of mind or front of mind for a lot of people this next year. So it's something to pay attention to. So for our next one, we've got one of the best review strategies that we've heard this year so far, and more specifically talking about when you should be requesting a review to capture the customer at their most delighted, or that peak of their happiness when it comes to the service or the product that you provided. Let's take a look at that.
So for us, we really look at the process, the customer journey, the process they go through, and figure where is that emotional height, right? Where's the customer? Where do we believe we're at their happiest based on all of the data that we have? And for us, it's exactly when we finalize that sale. Sometimes these projects can take a day. Some of them can take a week. We have some that can take a month. But when we finally got the perfect sofa with the perfect pillows, the perfect rug, there's that, we like to call it almost like a euphoria in that moment. That is when somebody's emotionally at their highest point. And that is exactly when I want to get them a review request, and then also be able to prompt the customer and let them know. Ours comes via a text message.
I love that. We talk a lot about generating reviews and improving your star rating and improving your overall online reputation a lot here at Birdeye. And one of the strategies that a lot of people, I think, don't necessarily think about whenever they're planning out the review strategy is, obviously, in order to generate reviews, you need to be asking people for a review, and you want to make it easy for them as well. And so those are the first two ones that I've always, those are always kind of the first ones. It's make sure you give your customers an opportunity to leave a review. The more people you ask, the higher chances of receiving one you have. And the easier you make it, it increases those chances even more, versus, it's you either ask for a review in person and then you put the work on the customer to go to Google, find your business location, go to the reviews tab, leave a review, submit it. By making it easy, you can send it through text message, kind of like with what Eric was saying in that clip, or email, or a QR code to cut down on that number of steps. But one of the things that's really important is the timing. You don't want to, ask too early before they've really experienced the value of your business or, your service or product, but you also don't want to do it too late where it's kind of already forgotten about. So finding the right time to request that review is so crucial, which is another one of the great things about Birdeye is that that's something that you can plan for and automate. So you can automate the timing of when those review requests go out to maximize those chances. I just think that's a great kind of underrated tip for generating
Absolutely.
reviews.
Simple and yet brilliant. When the customer is happiest, right after that moment of euphoria, that's when you ask.
Yeah, definitely. So we're nearing the end. I think we got one or two more clips left, but the next one is a good one. This is with Steve Wiedemann, who's also one of our favorite guests here at Birdeye with our webinars. And he gave us a reality check. Search isn't just about Google anymore. Platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest are becoming search engines on their own right. And this is something that we have talked about so far in these highlights, but I think that's just because it is becoming such a big thing. And it's something that these businesses need to think about. And I do want to give it with provide this clip with the caveat that it doesn't mean that Google's going down. This just means that in addition to what you're doing with Google and the number one focus of being on Google, you just need to add these other areas on top of it. Now it's just in addition to Google, really. So let's take a look at what Steve was saying.
But big picture is that we've all been a little bit myopic on Google web search. And the fact is, and a lot of us have been a little ignorant to it, even though we've known, is that people aren't searching just Google anymore. My teens and the friends and family who are Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're using and searching TikTok for things, products included. There's a whole store within TikTok if you haven't used it. There's of course there's other ways that people search for content like YouTube videos, images. When was the last time you optimized Pinterest to make sure that when people are looking for images that relate to your products or services, that those show up? And how do you do that at scale as a multi-location business? How do you take all these different platforms, the TikToks and Instagrams and YouTubes, and Google video search and Google image search and Pinterest and Amazon? How do you take all those different places and scale when you've got tens of thousands of locations? And that's the underlying, I think, challenge, is that whole ecosystem of where people search and not being myopic on just.
Yeah, I thought that was such a good piece there. And it kind of echoes some of the things that we've been saying, and being able to expand your presence across the web on all of these different platforms, especially with social, which is something Birdeye does very well with, being able just to manage your social content, create it, publish it, engage with your followers, and even track your competitors on social and know what they're talking about and what kind of engagement they're getting. That stuff is really important. And, it's funny now because, it's always felt like social was like the big thing, like, oh, this, like, social media is the big digital landscape that needs to be discovered by businesses, or, people need to prioritize this. And it feels like now social is kind of just this staple that is expected. And now we've got these additional things for AI search that we have to do. And it's cool to see the evolution of this digital landscape for businesses. It's constantly changing, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. And controlling your online reputation, managing it, making it grow, those things never change.
Absolutely. I think if we talk about even Gen Z, Gen Z is already searching for products and services on Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram more so. But yeah, if businesses aren't showing up there, so it's a whole generation that you're missing out on of customers. And so, yeah, I think it's instrumental to, it's imperative to diversify the search strategy and being visible on the new search platforms like YouTube and Pinterest. Yeah, I think that's critical for success in 2025.
Yeah. And what a lot of people are looking for on these social platforms is not really even the content from the business. They're looking to see what other people are saying about the business, or it's reviews, it's customer feedback. If you search on TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube, and you're searching for I'm not even like a local brewery or a restaurant, and when you go in, when you're searching, you want to go see, okay, this is a person that took a video of them going into the restaurant and having their experience, and they're sharing it with us. I want to know what that experience is like, to know if that's something that I want to go do. And that's, it's like I was saying, it's the more things change, the more they stay the same, and people still want to know about customer feedback. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think social media is the biggest form of user-generated content. And this is the kind of content that builds, confidence in potential customers. So yeah, that's what people are going there for.
Yeah. And so we've got one more clip, and I think this is just to reiterate on, Google's unwavering focus on local search. Despite all this competition from all these other places, SEO expert Greg Sterling shares how local remains the biggest differentiator for Google. So let's take a look at that.
I think, this is a very, very volatile time in search marketing and in local. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are changing. There's regulation. There's the introduction of AI. There's Google introducing a lot of new changes to the algorithm in an attempt to sort of fend off competitors and prevent user defection. So there's just lots of stuff happening. I think Google, if anything, seems to be doubling down on local. It's a really important aspect of their search product, and really arguably their big competitive differentiator.
Yeah. Well, what are your takeaways on that?
I think the clip says it all. Google is doubling down on local, and that's where businesses need to focus their efforts to stand out. that's not the only segment, but yeah, I think local search is still a very powerful way to drive visibility.
Definitely. Yeah, and I agree with you. And as we've been saying, there's all these other players, but Google's still king. But I think one of the crucial aspects of all of this is in being able to actually succeed in moving forward with focusing on Google and adding these other places on top of it is to be able to track it and be able to actually understand where you are on the internet, but also understand where you are in the minds of your customers. And that's why tools that like with Birdeye is so amazing. Like our Insights AI and our competitors AI make it so easy to actually understand the perception of your business online. Kind of like that narrative, the crowd that Ben was talking about. That's exactly what the Birdeye score shows you, because it compiles everything from your listings to your reviews, to your star ratings. All of that stuff is compiled into one easy to understand number. And when you look at that number, you'll be able to tell exactly, okay, this is my online health score for it's on the location level all the way to the total level of your whole business. You can look at it all. And so you can actually see, okay, here's where we are. And it tells you exactly how you can improve it, whether you need to drive more reviews, respond to your reviews, or drive better ratings, or improve your listings accuracy. There's a lot that you can do. But I think that Birdeye score number and being able to have those insights that this tool can provide you is so important for you to actually understand where you are on the internet and in the mind of your customers and how you can improve. And so, this has been a fun session. It's always great looking back at some of these takes. We do so many of these webinars, they can all start to blend together. So it's really cool just to go back and, take another listen at what some of these incredible experts like Ben and Steve and Greg are able to offer. And then, the fact that at Birdeye View, we had over 30 sessions with guys from, OpenAI like Sherwin and Brian Cook from Google.
Incredible sessions.
It's been an amazing year full of incredible insights, and I'm excited for the new year. I think it's just going to get better and it'll get crazier, but I think that just is going to make it more fun.
I agree. I mean, with this year, we've seen AI, reshape reviews, local search evolve with, the advent of AI again, beyond Google now, and,
Yeah.
businesses gaining smarter tools to thrive. But now the big question for 2025 is, what's next?
What is next? And that's a great question. And, we actually just finished up our last webinar of 2024 with Steve Wiedemann in our most recent local search expert series, where we talk about how to prepare your business for local search in 2025. And in that session, we took a look back at 2024, all of the key SEO trends and updates and the things that Steve is seeing on his end and our prediction. And then we provided our predictions for 2025, the areas that you should focus on, things that, are going to, that, or at least the things that Steve thinks are going to become more prevalent, potential challenges as well. It was a really, really great discussion. And so I highly recommend checking that out. You can access that in the recording in the comments or the link in the comments. But yeah, well, it looks like we're definitely running a little long. We had so many great highlight clips to cover. I didn't want to miss anything, but I wanted to just say thank you to everybody for tuning in this year. We're looking forward to seeing you next year. And don't hesitate to follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. We really prioritize and take pride in how much content that we push out that is fully geared towards helping businesses succeed online. So thank you, Sirit, for co-hosting today, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. Don't forget, subscribe to everything, and we'll see you all in the next Birdeye Live. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks, guys.
Customer expectations are higher than ever. And for local businesses with limited resources, meeting these new demands to stand out from the competition can be a struggle. Meet Birdeye, our very own AI purpose-built to power digital customer experience. With Birdeye, local businesses of any size can deliver personalized experiences, elevate business outcomes, and better understand their customers without adding resources. Birdeye powers all the Birdeye tools your business already uses, enhancing your entire customer experience with personalized, contextualized, and human-controlled AI. And making the most of it only takes a couple of clicks. You can use Birdeye to rewrite your Google business description for SEO. Effortlessly engage your customers with fully personalized AI-generated review replies and messages. Create attention-grabbing social posts from text to design in a click of a button to grow your local presence. Even use AI to summarize your reviews, messages, and survey responses to learn how to improve your customer experience. And you can do it all without needing additional team members or spend. Birdeye gives your team the ability to personalize and elevate every customer interaction, from review responses, messaging, social, and beyond, at scale. Respond to every customer review in a way that's relevant, meaningful, and in the language your customers prefer with auto-translate. Increase conversion over messaging with contextualized responses that demonstrate a deep understanding of your customers' needs. Birdeye even helps you think ahead. It automatically identifies trends and spots areas of improvement based on vast volumes of customer feedback, helping you dig deep into the true sentiment behind every piece of feedback. Innovative and easy to use, Birdeye powers all the tools to attract, convert, and delight customers behind the Birdeye platform. Birdeye, AI built for local business.